Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Hole. My name is Cole, and I'm excited for today because we're talking about Kurt Vile and his album from 2011, Smoke Ring for My Halo. This is probably my favorite Kurt Vile project, even though I do like the next album, Wakin' on a Pretty Days. I think that's a very good 8 out of 10. Definitely recommend that as well. But I think this is where he kind of got everything right. It's a very consistent album, and I would describe his sound basically as like slacker indie fuzz folk, if that makes any sense. You'll hear it on the clips. But he sings in a very distinct style. He has a very kind of like almost humorous, slightly insincere-ish vocal mannerism that he sings in. It's a little strange. You'll hear it when I play it. But anyway, so as always, I've got plenty of clips lined up. So let's jump right in with Baby's Arms.
Just about everyone, and I hide in my baby's arms, hide in my baby's arms, 'cause except for her, you know, as I've implied.
Yeah, I love his singing on this song. His melodies are really, really strong, I think. But it's a very simple song. You know, his songs are relatively simple in general. He's basically just, you know, as he says, holding his one true love, which is his baby. So everyone else in his life he can get sick of or can disappoint him. But, you know, as most parents will attest, you know, the love for your son or daughter is just like on a whole nother level. So yeah, he's just very excited. He loves his daughter. All right. But again, it's a very chill sound. It's a very kind of laid back album. And, you know, it's got kind of like a fuzzy, folky singer-songwriter thing going on. And Kurt Vile's vocals, as you heard, have this kind of like odd, slackerish tone to them. I guess is how you would describe it. That's how I would describe it. But anyway, it's a really great start to this album. I think it's probably one of the better songs sonically on the album. But track 2 is also really good. Track 2 is called Jesus Fever, which is probably my favorite song. So let's check it out.
My suitcase with myself, but I'm already gone. Cleanse myself with vitamins, but I'm already gone. I saw the rising through the horizon, and I saw it fall. The Jesus fever's falling all over you, believers and lovers.
Yeah, Jesus Fever is a great song, just sonically speaking. I love the melody of, you know, already gone, as he says. But the song is a little confusing. It's poetic and dense, you know, so it's a little difficult. But I think about this song in the sense that this guy is probably very suicidal, in the sense that when he means he's already gone, that he's already made up his mind, right? And there's not much that can really fix him mentally, because when he says cleanse myself with vitamin health, but I'm already gone, I kind of like, it's a little humorous lyric, that I interpret really as just like this guy has made up his mind, you know, and not even Jesus can save this guy, basically, you know, because a lot of people, like, let's say in prison, for example, turn to Jesus, you know, even though their life is just like basically over, especially if you're a lifer in prison, your life is over, essentially, but you have to keep going. So they turn to Jesus to help get them through the day. So for Kurt Weill, it sounds like not even Jesus is enough to help save this poor guy. He's just decided, screw it, I'm ending my life, right? That's how I see this song. I could be wrong about it, but again, it is kind of like dense lyrically. It's a little hard to decipher, but I did my best. So please let me know what you thought about that, or if you have your own interpretation. I'd love to read it. But anyway, that's Jesus Fever. And track 3 is another strong track, in my opinion. It's called Puppet to the Man. So let's check it out.
You probably think I'm a puppet to the man. Well, I shout it out loud because I know that I am. Sometimes I'm stuck in and I think I can't undo it. Will you help me do it? Will you help me do it? Will you help me do it? Will you help me do it?
So that's Puppet to the Man, which I really like for a variety of reasons. You know, sonically, it's another hook-filled song, which I really enjoy. But it sounds like Kurt Weill as an artist on this song is playing the game, so to speak. He's playing the game correctly so as to get credibility and fame. Because he says, you know, I am a puppet to the man. I shout it out loud because I know that I am. So like the way that I interpret that is essentially he's totally fine with, you know, the fact that he has to do certain things. He has to play by the rules. He has to get used, so to speak, in certain ways to forward his career. And he's fine with that. He's okay with sacrificing certain things, it seems like, to get ahead, you know. Although, I mean, Kurt Weill is pretty underground, let's be honest. I mean, he was kind of known before this for being part of the war on drugs, even though, you know, he left before they made their first, like, real great albums, in my opinion. But it sounds like Kurt Weill, circa this album, is just okay with, as I mentioned, playing the game that you got to play. And he's happy to do it because he really wants to be a successful musician. You know, not necessarily to be famous, but he wants to be able to make a living off of this so he can keep doing it, you know. So he's willing to be a puppet to the man if it means that he can be a musician for the rest of his life. It's what I imagine he's talking about here. Again, I could be totally wrong. You know, feel free to let me know. But that's how I see this song, you know. Again, it's another really cool song. It's got a lot of hooks on it. I like it. Side A on this album is pretty good, in my opinion. But that's all I have to say about Puppet to the Man. So let's move on to track number 4, which is called On Tour.
Watch out for this one. He'll pump you full of lead for turning your head wrong. I wouldn't know. I see through everyone, even my own self now.
So that's on tour, which I kind of view as a companion piece, right, to Puppet to the Man. Because on one hand, deep down, it sounds like he wants to be me, he wants to be free, which, as he suggests, involves a lot of kind of weird behavior, like screaming annoyingly, because that's just me, as he says. So I guess like part of him is totally fine with being a puppet to the man, with doing what you got to do, right? And he's aware of all these things because, as he says, watch out for this one. He'll pump you full of lead for turning your head wrong. So I imagine what the person that he's referring to is like a marketer or a label person, who's like trying to direct this guy's career so that they're successful. So like on one hand, he's fine being a puppet to the man, but on the other hand, he wants to be weird and eccentric and do what he wants. So yeah, Kurt Weill is, struggling a little bit mentally with, sacrificing himself versus being successful. He's kind of wrestling with these ideas, it sounds like, as I'm sure all musicians do. The reality is that to become, let's say, a major pop star, you basically have to tick like all the same boxes that everyone else is ticking, or else, unless you're like Prince or Michael Jackson level talent-wise, you're just not going to succeed. Especially these days, considering how hard it is to A, get noticed, and to B, make money as a musician. Like, unless you're Justin Bieber, you're not making any money, right? But anyway, so that's on tour. Some more commentary on the musician's life, how to be successful, what you got to sacrifice to be successful, that kind of stuff. So I dig it. I dig it, Kurt Weill. A+. But that's on tour. So let's move on to track 5, which is called Society Is My Friend.
Society is my friend. It makes me lie down in a cold blood bathe. He stole my lady's hand. Hey, how you doing, little kids? My hand is not for you to hold, so kiss me with your mouth without closing it all that much.
Yeah, so Society Is My Friend is definitely kind of like a jokey song in the sense that society is definitely not Kurt Weill's friend. Like, he's asking himself, like, how do kids do this these days? How do they endure all this fakeness, right? So Kurt Weill is probably living in Los Angeles or something, which is like the fakest city on the planet, right? Where basically your worth is judged by what you can do for someone else. So it sounds like Kurt Weill is really struggling with just the fact that like a lot of this business is just BS. Like, it's people faking it till they make it. It's people pretending they like you because you can offer them something, right? There's no like real friendships or love. It sounds like everything has like a price. So that's kind of what he's getting at, I imagine. So society is definitely not his friend. So a little humor. I like it. And it's another really cool song. Very chill. But that's all I have to say about it. So let's move on to track 6, which is called Runner Ups.
If it ain't working, take a whiz on the world. An entire nation drinking from a dirty cup. My best friend's long gone, but I got runner-ups, yeah. When I walk in, my head is practically dragging. Yeah, and all
Yeah, Kurt is getting a little depressed here on runner-ups, because by runner-ups, I imagine what he means is he's trying really, really hard. He's trying his best. He's being a puppet to the man, even. But even all this is not enough. Like he hasn't achieved first place metaphorically, right? He's been a runner-up. So I love how he says it. You know, he's sick of walking, so he takes a wrong way train, and he sat down and can't get up. So like, you know, it sounds like he was trying all these things and it wasn't working. So he turned to the devil, so to speak, to try and like fast track his career. So we're not sure exactly what he did, maybe, but it sounds like he tried something. He sacrificed a little bit of his soul, metaphorically, to try to tick certain boxes that he thought would finally catapult his career, which of course it didn't, apparently, by this point. So he's just like, he's trying his best. He really wants to be successful so that he can play music for his, you know, he doesn't need to be rich and famous necessarily. He just wants to play music. But in order to play music, he has to like do all these things that he hates doing. And initially on Puppet to the Man, he kind of was okay doing them because he thought that he was good enough where like, okay, I'll endure all this BS for a little bit, but I'm sure my talent will shine and everyone will know, oh, I'm really good. But it sounds like that part didn't happen. You know, he was a puppet to the man, but no one saw his talent. And so now he's trying to do all these other things to catapult himself, and they're not working either. So he's kind of at a loss, it sounds like. He's really frustrated. Poor Kurt. That's how I interpret runner-ups, at least. But that's all I have to say about it. So let's move on to track 7, which is called In My Time.
My day I was young and crazy. Sure I didn't know shit, but now I'm lazy. One day I won't even know what was better. Then again, man, I won't know much of nothing.
So In My Time is interesting because it sounds like, as he mentions, you know, in his day, he was young and crazy. And by that, I interpret what he means as he was willing to do a lot more things that maybe he wasn't necessarily like proud of to try to get ahead when he was younger. He was willing to be more adventurous in his approach to being successful. But essentially it didn't work. You know, now he's being a little bit lazy, as he says. But he mentions that it's fine for now. He's got everything he needs at the moment. You know, he's not rich, he's not famous, but he's got what he needs. So there was a time in his life, it sounds like, where he really wanted the spotlight, and he was sacrificing a lot of things to be in the spotlight. But you know, it didn't work out, obviously, by this point. So he's kind of appreciating just the reality of his life. You know, he's kind of like lowered his goals a little bit, and he's just like looking around at his current life situation, and he's learned to appreciate it. You know, he's not as young and crazy as he used to be. He's a little bit lazy, as he mentioned, but he's kind of okay with it. He's like, all right, I guess I'll just be, you know, like a relatively well-known indie, you know, guy, not necessarily like super crazy famous, but he's okay with that. So that's a good mentality, you know. But that's In My Time. That's all I have to say about it. So let's move on to track number 8, which is called Peeping Tomboy.
Change, but I don't wanna stay the same. I don't wanna go, but I'm running. I don't wanna work, but I don't wanna sit around all day frowning. Does it really take? Get my head out of here.
Oh boy, poor Kurt. He's hit a real low point in his mental game, right? Because as we've established, he's tried everything to succeed and nothing's worked. He's sucked up to people. He's, you know, had fake friendships, trying to like, you know, leech off of people or whatever. And he's tried his best, he's played his hardest, he's practiced, he's gone to a lot of shows, I imagine, and nothing's worked, right? I mean, a lot of the industry involves luck, right? I mean, especially these days, there's just so much competition that even if you are one of the best, I mean, you know, it just takes, first of all, if you don't know social media, that's a big hit, you know. If you're not good at networking, that's a huge hit. But it sounds like our poor guy Kurt, has tried it all, and even though he's tried it all, he's not getting anywhere, and he's at a point on this song where he's just kind of had it up to here, right? He's just like, I'm kind of done with this, but at the same time, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do if I give this up. So like, he's in this weird state where, you know, he has no idea what he would do if he wasn't a musician, but at the same time, like, he tries so hard being a musician and nothing he does is working. So like, he's just like, he's so annoyed at life right now. Our poor Kurt, our poor hero. But that's just the way it is, right? Unfortunately. But that's Peeping Tomboy. That's all I have to say about it. And I'm gonna skip track 9, which is called Smoke Ring from My Halo, the name of the album. It's a good song, but nothing I wanted to talk about in particular. So we're gonna skip it, and we're gonna go to track 10, which is called Ghost Town.
When I'm out, I'm only in my mind.
So that's Ghost Town, which is the last clip I want to play from the album. And it sounds like our poor guy has basically just decided to go through the motions, right? He's just going through the motions now. Like, his ambition is totally gone. He doesn't have that energy and drive anymore. You know, because as he says, sleepwalking in a ghost town, think I'll never leave my couch again, because when I'm out, I'm on it in my mind. So by that he means, like, when he's out trying to play gigs and network and stuff, he's just sleepwalking. Like, he's not, he doesn't have that drive he used to have, right? He's just totally bummed out. He's just totally demoralized. And this is really the end of the album. So our poor guy, you know, he had a lot of ambition, he had a lot of drive at the beginning of the album, and just the reality of life in the music industry just crushed him. And now he's just like, you know, he's just going through the motions. So our poor hero. But that's Smoke Ring from My Halo. You know, there's not much else to say about it other than, you know, it's a kind of chill, fuzzy indie folk type vibe, kind of a slacker vibe with the way he sings. So I just thought I hope that you thought it was interesting, Lula. I hope that you enjoyed it, hopefully. But that's all I have to say about it. So, as always, feel free to comment down below with your thoughts and opinions. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It'd really help out. You know, I make these for you guys. But that's Kurt Vile. That's Smoke Ring from My Halo. So check it out. And have a good one.